with DeVon Franklin, who is best known for producing the films Miracles from Heaven, Heaven is for Real, and co-authoring the New York Times bestselling book, The Wait. But DeVon Franklin, I believe, is a bit of a unicorn. He's not only a top Hollywood producer, he's a renowned preacher. He's a recognized authority on faith and the entertainment business, not necessarily two subjects that you'd expect to see together. He discusses the blending of those two topics in his first book, Produced by Faith, and his recently released title, The Hollywood Commandments. He seems to be winning everywhere. He's a successful CEO of Franklin Entertainment, a production company in conjunction with 20th Century Fox. He's a best-selling author, a TV personality, a producer, and a sought-after speaker. BeliefNet called him one of the most influential Christians under 40. Variety magazine named him one of the top 10 producers to watch, and Ebony magazine has named him one of the top 100 influential African Americans in America. Since so many beginner entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers I work with struggle to combine multiple passions and messages into one personal brand, I could not wait to ask him how he does it all. If you are a speaker, author, influencer, podcaster, if you're in the entertainment business, you will love this interview with DeVon Franklin. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Pursuit. I'm Kelsey Humphreys here with DeVon Franklin. If you guys don't know, he is a huge influencer in Hollywood, you guys. Behind films like The Pursuit of Happiness, Heaven is for Real. He was behind the remake of The Karate Kid and Annie. I mean, so many amazing things. And he's also a best-selling author, and he's a preacher, and basically I could talk to him for like 3 years. And so we're going to break down your success today. Thanks for letting us come into your office.
Yes, I'm glad you're here. Welcome.
Such a cool view.
Oklahoma.
You guys can't really see, but this office is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great to look out over the
Yes,
city.
it's inspiring. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, because I like
Yes.
to break down the story. And you started as an intern for
Yes.
the management company of Will Smith. So
That's
the
right.
company that managed Will Smith. So you get that big break, and I think you've talked about how like that was the starting point for your success.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe talk about why, but then also what would you say to people who think, well, he only made it because he had that, great opportunity with being in the sphere of Will Smith, and that's, why he succeeded.
Sure. I think one of the things for me, I had always had a dream of being in Hollywood. I grew up in the Bay Area, Northern California. Grew up in the church, and people were like, no, you can't go to Hollywood. And I was like, well, no, that's what I feel like I'm called to do.
Yeah.
And, that was definitely, even today, that's not always met with accolades from the church community. But I still had to go to Hollywood to figure it out, and because I had a dream and I really wanted to make content that could uplift and inspire people. So when I went in for that internship at 18 years old, I was going to USC, University of Southern California, and I knew I needed an internship to pair with my educational experience because I knew it wasn't enough just to learn about Hollywood intellectually. I wanted to learn it practically. And so that's when I went in, for that internship interview. And I remember putting in my resume at the time. I had my picture on the resume, and the person I was interviewing with had turned in, when I went into the interview, they had my picture crossed off. And they were like, this is not a modeling agency. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm getting started on the wrong foot.
Right.
And as we began to talk, she said, well, why do you want to be in entertainment? And I said, because I want to make change. And she's like, you want to make money? I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not talking about that kind of change. I'm talking about change in the world. And that kind of turned the tide of the interview. And by the time we got to the end of it, she was like, okay, you're in. And the first day of the internship, there was no instruction. It just showed up. And they said, here's where you're going to sit. It was like a little chair in the file room,
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, either I'm just going to sit here all day or I'm going to take some initiative. And so I started going around to the assistants and saying, hey, what do you need filed? What do you need faxed? What do you need copied? What do you want for your coffee order? Just start taking the initiative. And as I built the relationship with the assistants and started, working for them, that's what ultimately got me into relationship with the management, which is ultimately what got me the relationship with the talent. And so what people don't realize so often is that you can know, the biggest people in your industry, but ultimately it comes down to what you do with that. It's not just having the proximity or the relationship. There are a lot of people who have relationships with a lot of influential people, but sometimes you actually don't succeed because you think just by knowing that person, it's enough. Well, it's not. Me knowing Will Smith, okay, fine, great. How many people knows Will Smith? A lot.
Yeah.
So it was about me understanding, okay, how can I learn from him? How can I learn from the other people at the organization? And then use that as a springboard to help propel the rest of my career.
Yeah, such a great answer. And also, I love when I was listening to your story, I don't know if you guys caught it, but a lot of people are like, okay, I'll go be an assistant. He was assisting the assistants. So you really did start like intern,
That's
bottom,
right. The
bottom.
The very, very
that's
bottom.
key. And also then you were promised, tell me if this is right, you were promised to get, this may have been a later job, but
Yes.
to be there a year and get a promotion,
Yeah.
and it wasn't happening. So you also had to be patient too.
Yes.
And I wonder what's your advice, because today, you know, I feel like people are a little less patient in their careers. And also there's a lot of people who have like a one-hit, you know, viral video on YouTube or something, and then they feel like they don't really have to go, they don't have to start at the bottom anymore. What's your thought? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, there's a reason why they say patience is a virtue, because it is. One of the things I talk about, you know, in my new book is this whole idea is that, you know, success is a staircase. And to wear a crown, you have to carry one first. And that really is about underscoring the value of service, the value of patience, the value of committing to a process. I pray that people don't have overnight success. Because if you get it overnight, you'll lose it overnight.
Yeah.
The process actually builds your capacity to handle success when it arrives. So when you're patient, when you work through difficulties, when you take the stairs, you actually build up your character, you build up your integrity, you build up your capacity to manage life on the level which you aspire to live.
Yeah.
If you take the elevator, you know, we're on the 20th floor of the Fox Plaza building. This is the building where they shot Die Hard, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yes, Nakatomi Plaza, as most people out there know it. And we're on the 20th floor. So taking the elevator to the 20th floor takes no energy, takes no effort. However, if you need to manage life on the 20th floor and you haven't taken the steps, you might get here, but you're not going to know how to manage it. So what I talk about with patience and, you know, going back to, you know, even my career, it's like I started when I was 18 years old. I knew I wanted to produce film. I knew I wanted to produce television. I knew I wanted my own production company. But at 18, I had to start.
Yeah.
Just getting going. And do you know, it took over 150,000 hours, over 6,500 days from the day I set foot in Hollywood to finally getting my production company. That is 150,000 hours of showing up,
Yeah.
serving,
Yep.
being patient, waiting my turn, being persistent, still learning, understanding who I was, learning how the business worked. And what I love is that there were times during the journey where I wanted to rush. And when I couldn't go fast, I was frustrated.
Yeah.
And I know so many people out there watching are experiencing that frustration because we live in a time where everybody wants instant gratification. But what I can tell you is that the value of delayed gratification, specifically in our career, is that by the time we receive what it is we're going for, we actually can manage it, we can enjoy it, and then too often we are only focused on obtaining it. Obtaining is not the issue. It's maintaining once you've already obtained it. And so your ability to maintain what you obtain is critically dependent on the process you went to get it.
Yeah.
So here I am, you know, we're in a couple of years since I've had my production company. And the only way that I can sustain this company and maintain it is because of the process I went through. You know, I know what to do. I know how to get projects set up. I know how to package projects. I know how to move things forward. I would never be able to do and manage what I have now if I had tried to shortcut the process.
Right.
So for those that are watching, you know, there's a frustration, there's an anxiety. Relax. It's all good.
Easier said than done,
Relax.
but good advice.
Relax. Focus on every time you get frustrated, okay, what can I create? Every time I get frustrated, well, okay, because frustration is wasted energy, it's wasted time, and it doesn't bring you anything.
Yeah.
All it does is it takes away. If you really want to maximize your time, fix your focus. Think about this. Every time I'm frustrated, okay, what can I focus on that can actually be productive? Because if I can focus on something productive, what's going to happen? I'm going to feel better.
Yeah.
Because what I focus on creates how I feel. So if I'm feeling bad because I'm focused on the wrong thing, oh, I'm not here. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not doing what I want to do. How do I feel? I feel bad about that. Okay, well, shift it. Okay, I'm alive. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm here. Okay, I'm talented. All right. I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm further than where I was yesterday. Okay, great. So now I'm focused on something different that helps me actually feel better and helps me become more productive.
I love that. And you talked about those hours, which that was such a great reminder and illustration. However, you also were one of the youngest ever TV execs. So it's almost like someone looking on the outside and is like, well, yeah, you say you were patient, but dude, you crushed it. And so I wanted to ask you, this is perfect to lead into this question, because in your new book, your very first commandment, I think, is prayer is not enough. So for those of you who don't pray, a lot of times in the business sphere, we'll hear about like letting go, just let go, don't hold on so tight. And obviously you have figured out how to hustle really, really, really hard, but also, step back and have faith. How do we do that? I feel like even just me personally, I'm just all hustle and I'm just all go, go, go. And a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, people building their brand, their YouTube channel, whatever, that's how we function. How do you find that balance between faith and like, you got to make it happen?
Yeah. You mentioned my new book, The Hollywood Commandments. The first commandment is your prayers are not enough.
Coming up, don't miss his number one piece of advice for achieving success. But first, I want to remind you that if you love these celebrity interviews, there are 3 ways you can support this show, this free show here on the internet, you guys. First, you can like this video and share it with your hustler and dreamer friends. Second, you can subscribe to the channel. And lastly, you can sign up to join Pursuit Nation. When you do, I will give you my top 10 success hacks for real life. How do we take all the tactics in these interviews with millionaires and celebrities and actually apply them to pursuing our own dream? That's what I break down in this PDF. Get your free copy at thepursuit.tv/top10. I'm just all hustle and I'm just all go, go, go. And a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, people building their brand, their YouTube channel, whatever, that's how we function. How do you find that balance between faith and like, you got to make it happen?
Yeah. You mentioned my new book, The Hollywood Commandments. The first commandment is your prayers are not enough. And let me answer that relative to, being one of the youngest executives in film at the time. Young relative to getting started early.
True.
So me having a focus on what I wanted to do helped me narrow it in. Yeah. Here's what I noticed. Too often, we all have different gifts. We all have things we want to do. So we're really broad and we're unfocused. And if you're unfocused, you're not going to be able to hone your energy, your time, and then zone in on what are the opportunities that are going to help you build who you are and become who you need to be. It's like the tree. If the tree does not have a trunk, there can be no branches. Yeah. Everybody wants the branches, but don't want to plant the tree. Right. So for me, while I was able to achieve, great success at an early age, is because I started early. Because I was focused, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew where I wanted to do it. Geography is so important to being successful. Sometimes, depending on what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, you may not be able to do it where you are. You have to identify where is the opportunity and let me go there. Yeah. If I have a tech startup, I need to go to Silicon Valley, right? Very difficult to do that from where you may be. Go where the entrepreneurs are. Go where the VCs are. Get in the environment. The environment's going to help you become more successful. Yeah. So I started early and I started focused. The point you asked about in terms of how do you remain active, but still, to remain a sense of calm. When I talk about your prayers alone aren't enough, I talk about the concept of praying and preparing. So I pray and say, okay, God, I believe that you're in this. I believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. And I believe that if I am being obedient to my gift and I'm being a good steward of what I've been given, that I have to have faith that the right things will happen. Part of my faith is I work. I don't work to make things happen. I work because I believe things are already happening.
That's good.
Because if I'm working to make things happen, especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a small business owner, underneath it is a sense of disbelief. You don't really believe. So you have to do. If I don't do this, if I don't call that person, if I don't hit this blog, if I don't make this connection, it's not going to work. Yeah. Ye of little faith. Yeah. Relax. You got to say, okay, how can I do my best work? How can I have the maximum impact? And once I've done that, I have to trust that everything else is going to work out. So it's not working from a place of desperation or anxiety. It's working from a place of comfort and a place of confidence, saying, okay, during my journey, the 20 years I've been in entertainment, I learned the balance of saying, okay, what can I actually do today, and am I maximizing where I am? And once I actually look at where I am and I say, yeah, I'm maximizing where I am, great. So then I got to relax, and I got to pray, and I got to have faith, and I got to trust. Am I doing the work? Yes. But am I doing the work to the point of losing my mind? No. Because when I actually sit back and I rest in the confidence of who I am and what I'm doing, more opportunities come. Because when you are desperate, you're an entrepreneur. You're a content creator. Your desperation is like cheap cologne, cheap perfume. The moment you walk in the room, everybody smells it and nobody wants it. Everybody's like, get out of here.
Yes.
But your confidence, it works the same way.
Yeah.
That confidence, that aroma, that smell. When you walk into the office, people are like, ooh, what is that?
Yep.
Because when you feel good about where you are, you know that if you just keep staying on the path, it's going to happen. That confidence is contagious. And people are going to want to work with you. So I would just encourage anyone, to find that balance of being a good steward over your work, doing everything you need to do, but also trusting that the things you're doing, the seeds you're planting, will grow.
I love it. Can you guys tell he's a preacher? He's preaching, y'all. Get out your hankies. Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you've gotten numerous awards, like top 100 influential African Americans, 35 under 35 in Hollywood, Hollywood Reporter, then top, I want to say 40 Christian influencers. So everybody loves you. I feel like
well, that's actually not true.
Well, this is what I was kind of like, I'm a Christian looking from the out, I'm out in Oklahoma, you can take some assumptions on how people out there view Hollywood and all that. And so it seems like, well, wouldn't those things all be at odds? And yet somehow you're succeeding at all of them. You're working in all of those arenas well. How did you, I know you've had opposition along the way, so how'd you deal with it? And then how did you manage to have success at those things that would seem to be kind of conflicting or not, that they wouldn't work well together?
Sure. The answer to the second question is authenticity. And that, one of the commandments that I talk about, commandment number 9, your difference is your destiny. And too often we try to become a version of what other people want us to be. And as a result, we diminish the destiny we were created to achieve. So for me, owning my authenticity, owning the fact that I am a Christian, I'm a person of faith, owning the fact that I love Hollywood, I've been in Hollywood since I was 18 years old, owning the fact that, God has given me a gift to minister, He's given me the opportunity to write books. So as long as I don't put myself in a box and I am pure of intention, my intention is to inspire people. I believe one moment of inspiration can change your life. So I want to, whether it's through a movie, whether it's through a book, whether it's through me speaking, whether it's through a blog post, everything I do is geared towards whoever is receiving what I'm doing to help produce a moment, an urge, a desire to do something different and positive in their life that they otherwise may not have done had they not had that moment. So everything I do is knit by that. So it gives me the opportunity to go through all these different worlds that seem like they would not work. But because I'm just honoring who I am, they do work because I'm practicing authenticity and owning my difference. And I believe that anyone that owns their difference and stops trying to figure out, well, I'm this, but how can I be that? You're everything God created you to be. It's important to know where you need to start. That's where focus comes in. But you can still, even though I started in film, I knew, okay, one day I want to produce television. One day it would be great to write a book. But I knew, okay, let me focus, right? And even as I'm focusing, how can I bring myself to what I'm doing? I said, okay, well, I am a person of faith, so let me bring that to my work. Even as an executive, I am a person of color. Let me bring that to my work. Let me not keep that outside. Let me bring it in the door. Because the more I bring in my authenticity, the more I'm going to be unique.
Yeah.
And when you are rare, you are rewarded. And it's so important to hone that rarity, hone that difference, because it'll lead you to your destiny. Now, the first question you asked in terms of conflict, I deal with conflict all the time. Seriously, because what happens is when you're distinctive and you're different, people don't know what to do with you. So for some people in the secular world, I'm too spiritual. For some people in the spiritual world, I'm too secular.
Exactly.
I mean, just case in point, my movie, I'm producing a movie called The Star, animated film, story of the first Christmas, but through the animal's point of view. And we got everybody from Tyler Perry to Oprah to Tracy Morgan to Kelly Clarkson, Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, we got an all-star cast. Mariah Carey just recorded the lead song. Awesome. Now, there was a major Christian conference that would not take the film because they didn't like one of the cast members. Now, my response is like, okay, I'm doing something great. I'm doing something great.
That.
If I'm getting conflict, then that means I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. Because when have you ever seen somebody operate in their destiny and not receive conflict along the way?
Yep.
Case in point, there's with my new book, The Hollywood Commandments. There's a very prominent app that I went to and said, hey, would you cover it? They're like, oh no, we're not really into personal success. And I'm like, what way to honor God than to become who you were created to be?
Yep.
So I get conflict every day, but I'm like, okay, great, because that conflict just gets me excited. It keeps me focused. It keeps me hungry. It's like, oh, okay, y'all don't get it yet. I'm going to keep going. You don't understand. I'm going to keep going. But the temptation with conflict is to run from it.
Yeah.
And even that idea of like, okay, well, being well-liked. One of the chapters I have in the book is called You Have to Master the Walk of Fame. And what I mean by that is that whenever you're operating in your gifting, along with that will come some notoriety. And one of the keys to managing notoriety is to learn how to handle praise. We were created to give praise, not to receive it. And when we begin to use our gift as a way to receive praise from others, as a way to find validation, and as a way to be liked, we set ourselves up for massive disappointment. Because there aren't enough people that tell us we can do a good job to fill the hole in our soul if we have it. The only way that we can feel validated is by going here.
Right.
And getting that, God to fill that. And to feel like when you wake up in the morning, no matter what you do, you are good all by yourself. If you don't feel that, then you're out here searching. You're out here asking, oh, well, how many hits did I get? How many comments did I get?
Yeah.
How many likes did I get?
Yep.
That is a slippery slope to never being happy. And I have found, hey, I have to be pure of intention. I have to do the best work I can. And let's see what happens, right? There have been movies I've worked on, pure of intention, did the best I could. They didn't work. So I said, well, nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with God. That did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Let me keep moving.
Yeah.
Because if I focus too much on people and how they respond and what they want, then I begin to manipulate my own gift just for them. And people are fickle. They are. Someday they love you, someday they don't.
Yep.
But I have found that if you just stay consistent and you embrace the conflict that comes along your way and you keep moving forward, the right things happen at the right time.
Okay, people are fickle. That's one of your 5 rules for work that I want you to go through. So wait on. But before we get to that, you said something that was so interesting to our mutual friend Lewis House.
Yes,
I
my
love
buddy.
Lewis.
Love him. I love him.
And you told him that you have to stand up for what's just and know what's just ego. And I was like, oh, that's good. Because, I mean, what you're talking about, there's a lot of ego. I feel like you have to deal with ego as you step into your gifts, as you really go into what makes you different and unique and where you are the most talented, where you have talent.
Yeah.
And so do you have a recommendation on how can we check ourselves to know, is this something that I'm like standing up for the right thing, or this is me and my ego getting involved?
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, one of the ways to stay grounded is look at who's around you.
Okay.
You've got to keep people in your life who will tell you the truth. It's so important because the more successful you become, the more people want to please you, and the harder it is to get to the truth. And you can easily, as you are successful, find yourself in situations that people don't want to disappoint you. They want to keep your friendship, or they want to keep your business relationship, so they'll only tell you the version of the truth that they think you want to hear. It's really important to identify who's in your circle, in your inner circle, and make sure that it's built upon a level of trust. That will also help you manage the ego. The other thing is you got to look at intention. Intention is so important. Why am I doing this? Why am I fighting for this piece of publicity? Why am I fighting for this notoriety? What is it actually geared to do? So if it's just, hey, I want to be known, that might be just ego.
Yeah.
If it's focused on, hey, no, this is what I'm doing. Here's who I'm trying to reach. This is why I'm being so aggressive about getting this sort of exposure. That's okay, cool. I heard a minister once say, you can't be rewarded if you aren't recognized. So part of me being able to have more opportunity is the more recognition we get for what we're doing,
right.
Other people will see it, and people who are in a position to reward us on another level will say, oh, they're doing the thing I've been wanting to invest in. I'm going to call them now that I know about them. Yeah. So part of managing ego is identifying intention. What is my intention here? Why am I creating this project? Why am I going for this promotion? Why am I trying to get this piece of publicity? Whatever it may be. And once you identify, okay, is this just self? Or it's really about this project. It's really about this is what this is going to do because this is what's aligned to my purpose. It's really about doing, an evaluation. because I have found people that never do that. And it's just, oh, I want this and I want that and da-da-da. And get really puffed up. Oh, and look at me. Here's what I know. Yes, we are all talented. All of us have a gift. All of us. But for the grace of God, there go I. There go you. The moment that I say it's me, well, guess what? I didn't come into the world wanting what I want, right? I didn't give myself these desires. I didn't give myself these gifts. So no matter what your spiritual point of view may be, religious point of view may be, we all came into this world innately able to do something.
Right.
So even if you may not have a spiritual point of view, that's all right. There's still a recognition of this gift is really precious. And the more that I just honor myself, the less the gift gets a chance to be put front and center. The more I'm saying, yes, this is a gift I've been given, and what do I do with the great gift? I want to give it. I want to give it. Because the more I give it, the better I feel. And the more I believe I can actually help people. So it's not about me, the giver. It's about the gift. I heard a sermon once that was so profound. The minister was talking about how, what do we do with the fruit tree, right? The tree produces the fruit.
Right.
And we go to the tree for the fruit.
Yeah.
And we go. Now, does the tree say, look at me, I'm the tree? No.
Nobody cares about
Nobody
the tree.
cares about the tree. They care about the fruit.
The fruit. That's so good. That is so
That's
good.
how you manage your ego.
Yes, exactly.
We are the tree.
Yep.
Our gifts are the fruit.
Yep.
So just keep producing the fruit.
Here, have all my fruit.
That's right. Make the best fruit in the world so that it can nourish and strengthen people. But stop tripping about us in the ego, because that's the tree.
That is so good. Whoever came up with that, make a t-shirt and I will sell it. I mean, I'll buy it. Please make a t-shirt. Okay, so I'm so excited about your new book, and I really want you to go over the 5 unwritten rules to win at work before we wrap up.
Yeah, the 5 unwritten rules to win at work, is so important, because what I notice is that too often we don't have strategy. We do not have strategy. So I wanted to create a resource on my website, a free resource for people to get this strategy to understand how to navigate the office life. Because so often you don't know the politics, you don't know how to work.
Yeah.
So, one of the top rules is people are interested in their own self-interest. And what that means is that your boss is interested in keeping their job.
Yep.
People are interested in self-preservation. And if you don't know that, you will miscalculate how you manage the day, which is going to relate to how you manage your career. It's not that people are selfish. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you're in a position of power, self-preservation is important. So when you go in and you say, okay, it's about me today, and I want to get up the corporate ladder. My manager may want this, or my boss may want that. You're going to mess up. But if you go in sensitive to, okay, the stress that my boss is getting is because their boss is stressing them out.
Right.
And my boss is interested in retaining their job.
Yeah.
So the boss is going to make an evaluation of everyone on their staff. Are they an asset or a liability? Are they going to help me keep my job, or are they going to help me lose my job? And if you're on the side where every day you come in, how can I make my boss's life easier? How can I help resolve the tension and the stress by doing excellent work, by being attentive, by taking initiative? That will actually help you not only stay employed, but it'll help promote you. So that was one of the tips of the 5 unwritten rules that I wanted to put out there. The other thing is that no isn't always no. Sometimes you have to be persistent. You have to stay looking for the yes. I talk about, a story, from the Bible, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they had a dietary restriction, which would, in many cases, maybe have disqualified them for the internship that they were in. But in the internship program, they said, we can still do the internship, but we can't eat the same way. Will you give us an opportunity to eat our diet? The first answer they got was no. And they were like, what? But instead of stopping, they stayed persistent, and they ultimately got the yes. And they got 10 days to do their diet and still do the internship. At the end of 10 days, they were the best interns that the internship program had. They were able to keep their diet. At the end of the internship program, they were the best that were offered up into the King's service. So the reason why I put that in as an unwritten rule is that too often we get discouraged by a no. A no only sets you up for the right yes. But you've got to remain persistent and consistent in order to get it. That's one of the things I think people really mess up with. And one of the things that I had to learn how to do better with is consistency. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to show up today. It's another thing to say, I'm showing up this week. It's another thing to say, I'm going to show up this month. But can you put a year together?
Or years to get your business off the ground, you guys.
Right.
Years.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So staying consistent is so important. And the other rules, they're gonna have to wait and go to the website and get the rest of the 5 unwritten rules, y'all. So DeVonFranklin.com, you get the rest of the rules.
Go get
and
them.
I know for certain people have been hitting me up that have downloaded this and are applying it, and they're letting me know how much it's changing their career and how much it's improving their life. So I want your life to be improved too.
Go get it, you guys.
Go get it.
Okay, so looking back over your incredible journey, what's been the worst part and the best part?
Ooh, wow, good question. The best part is I've had the opportunity. Here we are. We're in Franklin Entertainment. Like I said, we're on the 20th floor.
This was your dream. You're
living
the dream.
Living the dream. We're living a dream, and this is like literally like faith in action. Like it really works. And so to be here to do this is really amazing, and to feel like there's no limitations and that there's no box that I'm in. I love that feeling of freedom to explore my gifts at their full capacity and see where they're supposed to go. The worst part, I don't think there's been a worst part. The worst parts have actually been the best parts in odd ways, because what you may say is the worst part, like, really being at a time where I felt like my career was stuck or felt like I really wasn't operating in my purpose, those moments actually taught me character. I mean, there were many days when I was a studio executive, working for Columbia Pictures, and just feeling like, what am I doing with my life? And who am I? And when am I going to get my shot? And when am I going to get my opportunity? And when am I going to get promoted? And all these things. And there were days, there were weeks where I was in that mode of frustration. And that's why I talked about it earlier. I'm not talking about something I've never been through.
Yeah.
There were moments where it's like, what am I doing? And I just didn't feel myself, and I didn't feel confident, because I was like, well, I'm here showing up, but no one sees me. And how can I get to where I'm supposed to go if I'm not getting opportunity and no one sees me? And so those moments, I wasn't doing my best work. I was unfocused. I was not bringing as much positivity and energy and execution and excellence to my work as I could. So I would say maybe those would be the worst moments. But those worst moments actually helped me, because they helped me persevere. They helped me learn the value of integrity. They helped me learn the value of persistence. They helped me learn the value of patience. And they helped me learn that, sometimes you got to just toughen up.
Yeah.
You got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to say, okay, all right, I'm going to push through today. I might have to cry. I might have to yell a little bit, but I'm going to push through, and I'm going to make it. And those moments really helped me appreciate these moments and put it all in perspective.
Awesome. You've given so many great tips already on business in general. Maybe just give your number one piece of advice for someone who wants to make it in the entertainment industry. And you could make that either as talent or as, from your perspective, someone who wants to be behind the camera and have their own production company. What's your advice to them?
I would say that if someone wants to make it in entertainment, the advice is twofold. You really have to check your intention. Why? Ask the question, why? It's not about the what, it's about the why. This is a business that is incredibly difficult. And if you don't know your why, you will compromise the how in order to get to the what. And it's not about the what, it's about the why. Many people can get to the what. But what did they do with the how? And if you don't know your why, you'll compromise the how. You may get the what, but what will it have cost you? Your well-being, your integrity, your soul, your spirit, your personality. You won't even recognize yourself.
Yeah.
So with entertainment, you got to know your why. And then once you know your why, you got to commit to the process. It's not something that needs to happen quick. You're looking at a lifetime. If you want to be in entertainment, this is not just a career and then you retire. This is what you do with your life.
Yeah.
So commit to the process. Whatever your area of entertainment you want to be in, learn it, absorb it, practice it, become great at it. And I can tell you, this is a place that when you do those things, you will succeed. You will succeed. I'm telling you, will. I've seen so many people, they may not, have the degrees everyone else has, all right? They may not have the relationships or the connections that everyone else has, but they're clear on their why, and they commit to the process, and they work on their gift, and they are some of the most successful people working today in entertainment.
Awesome. I'm so pumped. Aren't you guys pumped? This has been so great. Okay, we'll be right back after this with Fast Facts. Wow, guys, there was a lot in that interview, but here are my top 7 commandments on success for the rest of us from my interview with him. Number 1, thou shalt pay your dues, guys. Some may be tempted to say that he was successful because of his proximity to Will Smith, but I hope you heard that he started his career not as an assistant, but as an intern that served the assistants, the bottom of the bottom. I loved what he said, that he prays people don't have overnight success, because if you get it overnight, you'll lose it overnight. Your ability to maintain what you obtain is critically dependent on the process you went through to get it. Number 2, thou shalt learn to be patient, very patient. Again, this goes with paying your dues, but sometimes we think just putting in the work is enough without putting in the time. He put in over 150,000 hours, over 6,500 days before he finally got his own production company. He understands the frustration of feeling stuck, and I thought he had a great solution. Realize that frustration is wasted energy and wasted time, and switch your attention immediately to what you can do to be productive right then in that moment. Number 3, thou shalt learn to let go. In the last few years within entrepreneurship and personal development, there's been a lot of letting go. Let go and let God. The universe has your back, etc. I don't know about you guys, but this can be frustrating for me because I love to hustle. I want to solve problems. I want to push. So I asked him, when do we push and when do we release? And I loved what he said. I don't work to make things happen. I work because I believe things are already happening. So it's part hard work and preparation and part belief that you will succeed. Number 4, thou shalt be your authentic self. Franklin doesn't deny any part of himself in order to succeed. And he says you shouldn't either because, quote, your difference is your destiny. He says too often we try to become a version of what other people want us to be. So make sure you hone in on what makes you different. However, thou shalt focus on one passion first. This is where we get confused. If you're multi-passionate, yes, you need to be authentic and have all of your many passions weave together. But first, you need to build a foundation. What do you want to be known for first that will set you up to explore all of your other passions? Number 6, thou shalt prepare for conflict. Even though it seems like all he does is win, win, win no matter what, he said that's not true. And he asks us, guys, when have we ever seen someone operating in their destiny who did not receive conflict along the way? If we're receiving conflict, that probably means we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And lastly, number 7, thou shalt focus on your intentions and your audience. It's not about followers, but at the same time, we need ears and eyeballs to pay attention to us in order to gain new clients, share our message, etc. So how do we focus on growth and success, but keep our ego at bay? He says we have to look at intention. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I fighting so hard for this client, this piece of publicity, this podcast episode, this guest? Remember, he says that your work, the gift you produce, is really precious, and we need to focus on the gifts and not ourselves. The more we say, this is my gift I've been given and I want to give it to the world, the better we'll feel, and the more we can help people if we realize it's not about us, it's about the audience, and it's about the work. Now, I'd love to know, what was your favorite lesson from this interview? Leave a comment, and if you want to learn the juicy behind-the-scenes details, like what was she like in person, how did I land this interview, bloopers, and more, go to thepursuit.tv/DeVon Franklin. We are back with Fast Facts. Are you ready?
I hope so. I don't know.
Most people don't do this fast, so don't worry if it's not fast at all.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Scrabble or charades?
Charades.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Wine or beer?
Neither. I don't drink.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Guilty pleasure TV show?
Ooh. Love it, hip hop.
That is a great answer.
Yes.
What's the wallpaper on your cell phone?
My wife.
What's the last thing you remember Googling?
Spas for my cousin's birthday.
Recent book you read?
Oh man. Goodness
People
gracious.
get so excited with the book questions.
Oh man, why am I blanking on this? The most recent book that I read was not that one. This book called The Assignment.
The Assignment.
That's unbelievable.
Favorite book of all time?
Wow. The Prodigal God.
Who's the last person that called or texted you?
My brother, my older brother.
What is the last vacation you took?
Last vacation that we took was to Israel.
Hobby?
Working out.
Favorite snack?
Pineapple upside down cake.
Oh, good answer. Favorite music right now?
You know what? I'm loving Brian Poppin, gospel artist who has a new record out, and DJ Khaled's out.
Cool.
And Kendrick Lamar.
Biggest pet peeve?
Incompetence.
What would your wife say is her biggest pet peeve that you do?
I leave stuff out.
What were you doing right before this?
I was trying to plan my cousin's 40th birthday party.
And what will you be doing right after this?
Go back to planning his birthday.
And what is your next pursuit? Obviously, you have the book coming out and Star, but other than those two, since we already talked, what's next for you?
You know what's next for me is my first movie for Fox, called The Impossible. It's a true story of a mother who prayed her dead son back to life.
Wow.
He was 14 years old. His name was John Smith. He drowned in a lake in St. Louis, was dead. And they called her in to say goodbye. So they called time of death. And instead of taking the moment as it was, she prayed. And she said, God, bring back my son. And guess what? His heart started beating again.
Wow,
and
incredible.
The doctor's notes said, patient dead, mother prayed, patient came back to life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much. This has been so great. I'm Kelsey Humphreys here with DeVon Franklin, and this has been The Pursuit.